Today, we're going to talk about regime change. As of today, it's about a week since the most recent FOMC meeting, and we are very much in the depths of a regime change, not just within the FOMC, but within the market in general. We've just had a resolution that is palpable with the US-Iran war, and this causes change in the markets. This causes change in where your opportunities are, and it's so critical and important that you understand when that is happening, how you're going to approach that, where the adaptation is, how your scenario matrix might change, and where the experience is also collected, how you immerse yourself, how you capture these cycles so that you are better prepared for the next time it comes around. And we'll also touch on what should change about your workspace dependent on the regime that we're in. So let's get into it. All right, folks. So how should you approach new regimes? Well, first off, you got to ask yourself, what is a regime change? Well, a regime change, if you've never heard that term before, is essentially how markets trade differently dependent on the narrative. So the most obvious narrative that was totally taking markets for a ride this last year, these last 3-4 months, has been the US-Iran-Israeli war, right? Things like oil have been moving a lot. We were peaking around the 100, 120s, and now we're back down to sub 75. That's a pretty wide range for a year. And again, that's where a lot of opportunity happens. And how the oil trades affects how everything else trades, right? There was a lot of risk on, risk off correlation when oil would rise, dollar would rise, and vice versa. But now, and I use the dollar and oil as a very important example, because now what you've noticed over the last 2-3 weeks, if you've been trading, that the dollar has continued to rise while oil has now dropped off. And we talked about this in the early days with the folks on the live trading floor that I run every day. Make sure you click that link below so you can get a head start on these regime changes as they're developing and churning in the mind of the Axia collective mindset. But we talked about how that was starting to develop and how a regime change was in play, and that you, most importantly, above all else, had to change your approach in how you traded certain assets and what you wanted your screens to look like going into a new regime. You also have scheduled events that start to signal that a regime change is going to focus on a particular event. So the Fed, right? The FOMC had its first meeting with a new chair. A brand new Fed chair brings a lot of change to the bond markets, to the FX markets. And that, coupled with the fact that we've had a palpable resolution in motion with Iran and the US, there's so much to adapt to there, right? And that's why I put adaptation, because you really have to train yourself to understand when it's time to adapt and how to adapt, and really being intentional about it, right? Because at first, and for those that don't know, there's a video I've done on the ICODE, which is basically immersion, capturing, observation, distilling, and expression, right? So how you adapt and how you intentionally absorb all of that is super important, because even though it might be overwhelming in the first few iterations of your trading cycle, when it comes around the next time, you're just going to have an automatic understanding where you're a lot more experienced and almost, in a sense, kind of you become accustomed to it like you would drive a car, right? You just know where to look, when to look, and how to trade what you're looking at. And that brings me to assets and why it's key to understand which assets are correlated to that specific regime change. So obviously commodities, particularly the energy complex, were so important in the Iran narrative. Now we're looking at fixed income and the FX space around the Fed and central banks and what they're trying to do, which is get inflation back down, as it has obviously been a persistent issue. Tech or fundamental, right? Within the edge domains, we always start at the foundation of technicals, using that footprint, using that order flow, using that market profile. But when a certain narrative hits, the opportunity is driven by one or the other, or they merge. And again, with the US-Iran narrative, it was all about oil. It was all about, you could prep your technicals on oil, but there were levels that you were looking for that were probably going to get hit on a spike, on a reaction, or a positive reaction from the market on some kind of palpable resolution in motion. And sometimes one leads the other. And I would say with Iran, the fundamentals led the tech. And now with the bond market being very focused with the Fed, there's been a lot of technical setups that have been slowly developing as well on the gold, that were triggered by the Fed, right? So the tech kind of laid the foundation and the fundamental drove it, right? So they often merge anyway, but sometimes one gets ahead of the other. And it's so important to constantly learn how to bridge those two using not just the understanding of the fundamental narrative, but also using those technical functions, like I said, profile, footprint, order flow. Make sure you watch that video that I recently just put out on execution and how to, get better at bridging microstructures with order flow awareness and really understanding the pulse of the market. Because, for example, with this recent Fed meeting, there was a lot of important lessons for junior traders to understand how to sequence those trades. Sequencing meaning, how to trade the screen dump, how to trade the presser. The ICODE, again, I reiterated, immersion, capturing, observation, distilling, and expressing. Each regime change requires you to capture and immerse yourself and to observe with intention, right? Making sure that when the Fed hits, you're fully understanding what changed within the screen dump, what changed within the presser. That gives you that opportunity that will perhaps reappear in the future. And how you change this approach of your ICODE again correlates back to that edge domain, right? The 5 edge domains: technicals, central banks, scheduled data, NFP, CPI, the geo macro stuff, and flows, things like OPEX, things like earnings. What causes a flow and a market response is so important in how you change your immersion and adapt to these new narratives, right? On the notion of adaptation, understanding how to develop scenario matrices for all of these events and all of these regime changes is something that you will get better at with experience. So I've got an example here of how stages typically tend to develop. And this is one of the probably most proficient skills that Axia traders have, which is the ability to understand when we are in a certain stage and how to distribute risk and trades dependent on that stage that we're in. So stage 1, think back to mid-February, there started to be, a lot of circulation on X about military buildup, this whole idea that the Pentagon was ordering a lot of pizza, that is, an indication of a potential war coming on, all these things, right? That's when the market hasn't fully priced what could be. That's when uncertainty is driving the zeitgeist, driving the sentiment. And then finally, that's when volatility hits. And that's when the opportunity is available to you. This is probably one of the most important places to get proficient at. And it's an area where the more you have that collective mindset, again, if you're in that Discord with me every day, we talk about when things are starting to percolate and how you can be ready for that volatility, which in turn provides you with opportunity. And that's also where you get much larger range expansions where, again, those trades can be much more fruitful if you're prepared for the right sort of if-else conditional statement, right? If the US does indeed attack, if Israel does indeed attack, what will the market do then, right? Stage 2, market is in the process of pricing, right? So once there was reports and confirmation from both Iran and the US that they had hit the supreme leader back in the end of February, the oil market gapped up and the equity markets and the risk markets gapped down, but it wasn't necessarily a straight line. For those first few weeks, the market was chopping around and distributing those areas, which was the process of pricing, right? Price discovery. And that's when the market seeks to express its view in the short term and also in the near term, right? Volatility starts to come in bursts. It's not as wide and it's few and far apart. And it's more driven by, depending on the narrative. I keep using the Iran-US narrative because that was the most recent. That's really where certain headlines that come out are going to give you those obvious range expansions where traders are waiting and on the trigger finger for those access points, rather than in stage 1 when you're more just trying to get ahead of it and you're trying to price ahead of the uncertainty and the volatility, right? Finally, stage 3, this is probably the most difficult stage for traders because they get stuck in stage 1 and stage 2 mentality, and stage 3 is hit and they don't realize it. So, we even saw it on our floors where some traders would hit an oil comment, but the oil was still just not quite as reactive anymore. It didn't really have the same gusto, the same reaction anymore that it was having in stage 1 and stage 2. And sometimes you get caught out on that and the market doesn't really give you what it was giving you in stage 1 and stage 2 because the market has effectively priced the narrative, right? The market has expressed its view on what it thinks will happen, which usually is choppy. The market looks stubborn. And for those that have been trading since the deal has been announced between Iran and the US, the MOU, you'll notice that the markets have been quite choppy with the exception of the new narrative and the new regime, which has been the Fed, right? And the central banks. And you can see in the VIX, the volatility metric for the S&P 500, volatility has indeed died off. It did pop a bit again back into the 20 range on the back of the Fed hawkish narrative, but overall before that it was trading sub 16 again, which again is a more difficult environment to be able to access volatility because in turn there's a lack of it, right? You will rinse and repeat this within the 5 edge domains over and over and over again in your career, whether it's geopolitical stuff, US-Iran war type stuff, whether it's central banks, shifts in regime, hawkish or dovish, whether it's specified around some kind of asset class, perhaps gold. Think back in January when gold and silver were rallying to all-time highs. There was fears of debasement. All these different things will still act in the same sort of stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, but the edge domain will change, right? On that note, what should you change about your workspace during this cycle, right? And I'm not going to pull up the ladders and the charts and all that because it's kind of up to you to be able to assess where you're going to change that. But our job here, and again, if you want to get more hands-on approach, click that link below, leaguetraderworkshop.com. You can get involved. You can ask me questions whenever you want on what it is that you should be doing. But what I'm going to leave you with here that you should really think about is, do you have the right asset classes for the right domains? So US-Iran war, you obviously wanted to have oil front and center right next to that newsreader that's filtered with words like Iran, Trump, Truth Social, deal, no deal, any more kinetic attacks in neighboring countries like the UAE, stuff like that. Whereas now your oil ladder should probably be put away next to all the other commodities again in the energy complex, and you should be focused on the bond market and the FX market, right? Having like the USD JPY, right, as of this recording, is in a emergency intervention zone where if something comes out where the Bank of Japan or the MOF decides to make a move, either fiscal or monetary, that market should be front and center. You should have all those central banks, specifically highlighted within the narrative that we're in right now, which is fighting inflation, no more forward guidance, all that important stuff, so that you are prepared, your trigger finger ready, and you've got the right size ready so that you don't wake up and you go, whoa, how did this market move so much? Because you weren't ready, right, folks? All right, I'll leave you there. We'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.